Hi everyone, welcome back to The Learning Gardener. If you haven't been here before, my name is Pip, and today we are going to be doing, hopefully, a whole bunch of odd jobs that need to be done. In my brain, there's about 10 million things that we're getting done today. In reality, I have to stop and feed a baby every hour and a half, so who knows how much we'll actually get done. The biggest job I want to get done is to tidy up this deck. I wanted to get it done before Patty was born, but bending was difficult and we only really tidied up the seed starting area, and since then we've been hit by quite a bit of wind and that area has been bashed around. You can see in this area I've started 5 million projects. We've got the rat and mouse traps that I brought in overnight, noticeably without a friend attached to them. We've got some rubbish that I just haven't taken out the front and put in the garbage bin. We've got heaps of bottles here that I stored to make little seed starting bays that I don't think I'm going to do, so I'm going to chuck them. And there's a whole bunch of things that need to get organized. We've still got loofahs from 2 summers ago that my mum's dog Dobby loves, so I'm going to keep some of them and chuck the rest and just be done with it. The wood, we haven't really got any wood left. We've mostly just got bark, and it's all over the deck, and the dogs have been playing with it, so it's literally everywhere. But we literally have no more wood to burn for the rest of winter, and we still have 4 more weeks to go. So my dad is actually on his way down again today. He'll be here this evening with more wood to bolster our supplies for the rest of winter. He does not like the idea of a cold Patrick, which is a little bit cute. So, because my dad's a bit of a softie for Patty, we have wood that was free for this winter, and he has been working on cutting up the tree that we took down out the front and stacking it so that it can dry for next winter. We have some chicken supplies here and some metal supplies that I want to do something with, ideally in today's video. And we have the garden chairs here that I really need to find a permanent home for this glass table and its garden chairs, or get rid of it, because they just kind of progressively move around the garden or the deck and get plonked somewhere. And we have some autumn leaves. Now the autumn leaves were supposed to go into the chicken run for the chickens to poop all over and play with. The chickens got worms. That really put a kibosh on that. The chickens have now been well and truly treated, and they seem to have recovered. So I don't know if I'm going to put the leaves in there with the chickens for them to play on, and then just put that in the compost that is tainted and has to be turned a lot, or put that in the new compost bin. I don't know, but we need to do something with it because we've also got bags everywhere from that. We are down with the potatoes, and we need to deal with a little issue that's cropped up, which is a shame because they are looking so beautiful and healthy, and I am so hopeful that we are going to get a harvest that is way better than last year, which, to be honest, really wouldn't be hard. But we have evidence of chlorosis happening. So chlorosis is usually either the plants can't get the iron and minerals that are in the ground, particularly iron, because the ground is either too waterlogged or too acidic, or there's some sort of reason why they can't suck it up, or there is inadequate in the soil for them to actually maintain healthy plant status. So you can see it, and I'll show you a bit closer on some of these leaves. It's more obvious than others, and essentially it's like a lightening of the leaf color while there is still a dark green vein on them. So yesterday Choppy and I were in town and we were picking up dog food and things like that, but we also picked up some chelated iron. So it's recommended in this case to spray it on the leaves. The only spray we have is this tiny little one, which is usually my aphid spray, but I only use soap and warm water to spray aphids, so it should be totally fine on the potatoes, because I didn't read the label yesterday and pick up a spray as well. But I'm going to treat these first, and I'll have to do it again another I think in another 2 weeks or so. I have to read the label again, but we're going to spray them, and hopefully this will start to correct the issue and we will have a beautiful potato harvest. Normally our leaves get destroyed by bugs, particularly I think it's a 24 spotted ladybug that eats them, but you can see there's just that bit of coloration damage here on the leaves. So all I'm going to do is give them a good spray, and hopefully that will correct our issue. Our next job is in the berry enclosure. I need to get in here and do some weeding. The weeds have once again escalated through here, but at some point when I have time, and to be honest, probably also a babysitter, I need to fix the enclosures in here. As you guys know, in the berry bed and in the corn bed behind me, we had massive rodent violation issues last year, and actually I'm not going to pull up all that dead stuff because it's pulling up the little baby strawberries, but we had massive rodent issues, so I've got a new plan for how we're going to get around that. It's just going to require a fair bit of time to be out here, and as you can possibly hear in the background, sometimes I'm not allowed to do that. Apologies for all the background noise as we do this, but we are in a suburban neighbourhood on a very standard suburban plot in the south coast of New South Wales in Australia. So it's a beautiful weekend day. Other people are going to be outside doing their thing in their garden too. So apologies for that, but we only have the time to film that we have, and we are only allowed to do filming while I'm on maternity leave on the weekend. So we have to go today and we have to plow on. So what I was going to do was clear out all the dead leaves, but as I said, they're attached to little baby strawberries, and Chops is going to be starting solids soonish, so we need to keep as many berries as we can, also because our other berry bed got taken over with weeds and is currently being smothered, so we lost all of those berries. And the bed directly behind me, all the strawberries also just decided to die last season, and so did 2 of the blueberry trees. I think it's mostly a soil acidity issue. The soil that I bought was very, very alkaline, and I didn't know that till it got here, and obviously we were buying it in bulk to fill all the garden beds, and so it kind of just was what it was, and it had to be what it had to be. So we made the most of that, and we've used soil acidifier, but I just don't think the soil acidifier made enough of a difference. Our native soil is, from memory, pH of 6, and I think the soil that we got was like 10. Whoops. And berries really like 4 to 6. So I think the blueberries actually died before they made their way down to the native soil. But they lasted 2 full seasons and produced a huge number of berries in that time. So if I have to replace them every 2 years, it's still way cheaper than buying them at the shops, and way healthier than buying them at the shops. So we have replaced 2 in this bed from I think there were 2 in here that died. And then I've replaced 2 in this bed to replace the 2 that died, and we've still got 1 more. And obviously we've got the netting and things like that need to be replaced. Even though I've left the door wide open, every morning I've come down and there's been a bird stuck in here. So I really need to fix up this spot, don't we, Chops? So what I've got is 2 more Sunshine Blue blueberries. The other ones I started out with were Sunshine Blue. These ones are that's helpful, it just says blueberry. One's a pink icing, and I think they're all just Sunshine Blues, pretty much. This one doesn't actually say, again, it just says blueberry, which is, it's just so helpful. And this one is a Brightwell. So what we're going to do quickly before I take Chops in for a contact nap, seeing we failed with a cot nap this morning, is we're going to quickly add some fruit and citrus with beneficial microbes sea sol power feed into the bed, because they're all going to need some help. I did buy some soil acidifier liquid, but the ground is still pretty moist from the recent rain, so I don't know if I'll do that today, but we might. We'll see how we go. Depends how long this contact nap takes. But we've got 2 new Sunshine Blue blueberries, which have a low cold hour requirement in order to get berries. So we are going to pop them in this big bed, and what I've decided I'm going to do is, rather than having a huge enclosure necessarily for them, I'm just going to really control their shape so that they fit within the space and we can maximize what is in the bed. So I'm just going to whack these 2 blueberries in, put a bit of fertilizer in, and then we will be back out after Paddy's had his nap. The next job we've got on the list is to get some more seeds going. I was doing really well with being on top of regularly sowing seeds, but with the 4-month sleep regression where only day naps are contact naps, that's just really fallen off and stopped happening. And also with my fight against the rodents, that has taken precedence. So I'm going to get back on board with starting a whole bunch of seeds, and because it's been really warm in the daytime, I'm actually going to start sowing a lot of spring seeds, also because anything I sow now is not going to be ready for at least 4 weeks. So by the time 4 weeks has passed, it'll be spring. So, and if the current weather is anything to go by, it's going to be another really warm spring. Last spring was really warm. And so what I've brought out is a whole bunch of older seeds. So seeds that are more than 12 months old. I think the majority of them are at least 2 years old, if not more. So the germination rate is not going to be great, but I don't want to waste the seeds. So I'll just try it, and if it doesn't get going, then I have ordered a bunch of new heirloom seeds for this season, mostly because I was concerned, number one, that the germination rate, because most of my seeds are old now, would be very poor, and we had a very poor germination year last year, but also because of everything that's going on in the world, I wanted to make sure we had enough seeds to, I want to say guarantee food security, but there's no such thing, especially when you're fighting with rodents like we are. So we're going to get a whole bunch of these planted today, and we are going to be doing just smaller tasks today because I am quite limited. I really tweaked my wrist the other day and it is so sore. Like, I'm struggling to lift Paddy, struggling to put nappies on, and yeah, like really sore to touch even. So we just got to keep it to a minimum and try and let my body rest a little bit. So seed wise, what we've got things like zucchinis, so black zucchinis, I've got some summer squash, so like scallop squash. I've got blazing star liatris. I've got a bunch of different sunflowers, including a whole bunch that I saved from our sunflowers 2 years ago, from giant Russian sunflowers. And a couple of these I'm going to super glue onto the mouse traps, because last night I was really trying to set them super quickly because I had a screaming person screaming at me and wanting attention. And often he will sound unhappy in the background of the videos. I promise he's not unhappy. He's just, his current vocal exercises that he is doing, he's often in the background bellowing with a massive smile on his face. Anyway, so I'm going to super glue these onto the mouse traps because I just sprinkled some chicken feed onto it last night and they were able to nibble that off without setting off the traps, which is annoying. So they haven't managed to nibble off the corn without detonating. Not that we've caught anybody yet, but the trap still went off. So I'm going to try some sunflower seeds and super glue them so they actually have to pull them if they want them, or sit on the trap for long enough, and hopefully then we can get on top of our mouse issue. We've also got some yellow tomatoes, yellow romas. We've got some Amish paste, we've got some cucumbers, we've got some spaghetti squash, some Queensland blue pumpkins, zinnias, and a whole bunch of different heirloom capsicums. And we've got one new batch of seed that I bought this season, which is a beneficial insect mix. And this I would plant down in the chicken area, just because in my experience these kind of flowers mixes where they say, oh, this is a mix of whatever, the only thing that germinates is the one that's basically a weed. So I'm going to get to sowing and we'll just see what comes up. I'm going to sow fairly heavily because, as I said, the seeds are unlikely to germinate. If they do, we're just going to have a whole bunch of seedlings and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, we're just going to make a mess before we try and clean up the mess. And then the other thing I want to do today is I've got some ideas for ways to start potentially making like cloche type things using chicken wire essentially to try and keep some of my produce safe from the critters. In terms of trying to keep the seedlings safe, I'm going to order online a bunch of those plastic, they're kind of metal, but they have a plastic coating on them, I think, garbage bins that, thanks Rafa, that look a lot like a cloche. And so we're going to get some of those, but I haven't done that yet. So that's also on the list of things to do, hopefully today, but at least the making of the cloches I can do inside later. We've got to just try and, while he's happy, do all the outside jobs and get them done. The baby took an epic 2-hour nap, just refused to do so in his cot. So that basically means that today is done, and we've only got about 45 minutes of sunlight left anyway. So we've got to bring in what wood is left to bring in for the evening, and you can see like little pieces like this, they're not going to last long tonight, and these larger pieces down here I need to split. They're too big to get in the fireplace. So we're just going to take in what we can, and in doing so clean up some of the bark behind me, because we've got so much bark. I usually try and burn mostly bark for the first couple of hours. It gives off quite a bit of heat, so at least that will be helpful. But we just need to get what we can done with what's left of today. I've super glued the sunflower seeds onto the mice traps. I just haven't placed them yet because, as you can see, the dogs are still out and about and will be until after I feed them. So I will go out and basically put them out at dusk. Hopefully we will catch our nemesis, because I've discovered that they've been eating the tops off the peas. The containment worked for the pea seed and its roots, but not for the top. So anyway, we keep going, and we will have to continue this cleanup job tomorrow, and the making of the cloches I think tomorrow as well. the difficulty of doing this job, which I did not take into account beforehand, which I should have, because it is the problem with doing all of them now, is that something that might have taken me a day before now takes 3 or 4 or 5 days to get done. So we're on to day 3 just because we've had other things scheduled and, you know, baby naps, you know, take precedence. And so there's going to be a real limit to what we can do. And I think, to be honest, once I finish what I can finish in this baby nap cycle, I'm done with this job. For now, I'll have to come back to it some other time. We have at least tidied up a lot of stuff, and yes, it would be easier to put away all these tools and bits and bobs like down in the garden shed. However, the garden shed is all the way down there, and at the moment most of the tasks I am doing up this end of the garden. And you know, as implied by the it takes 3 to 4 days to do anything, it's just so much easier if it's nearby for the time being while I'm trying to get Chops back on a more normal sleep cycle. So even though it's like far from an ideal setup, at least it's sort of tidier. Need to find the other half of that chicken feeder, and at least it's more manageable. It's not perfect, but yeah, it's too cold to have people out on the deck at the moment for, you know, like, well, it's not really too cold. We could easily do it. It's actually been quite warm during the day. It's cold today, but generally speaking, it's been fine. But, you know, it's like I wouldn't be planning to have a winter gathering out here. I just wouldn't plan that. So it's just a matter of trying to get things to a point that is more manageable. I wanted to get like this stove and everything cleaned up. It's so interesting. My mum bought these for my birthday so that I could do canning and stuff out here. And I've ended up using the steel tables. We got one for free as more of a like a potting table setup. And what's been interesting about that is they're supposed to be stainless steel, so they're not supposed to rust easily, but they are rusting so quickly. And even the stove, which I haven't actually used yet, I don't even know how to turn it on yet, is like rusted. You know, okay. But we've got a bunch of stuff that needs to get chucked out. All of the cardboard I am going to be saving to put under the new compost bin, and we'll take that down to the backyard, but the bin is already full. So that's probably another reason to wrap things up today. So I'm going to carry on and get done what we can in the remaining time before Patty needs to go down for a nap again, and then we will call it. So I know that you guys might be hoping to see this area fully spiffy. That ain't gonna happen. We just can't in this phase of life get everything 100% done in under a week, it seems. And because I need access to things where it allows me to be faster at doing jobs, it's just the way it's going to go. And with all the firewood still in play and all the autumn leaves still in play because of the compost situation, it just is what it is. So we're just tidying up and reorganizing a little bit, and it's already better. It's better, but it could be better. And things like this I'm going to leave on the table so that I don't forget about them. I'm actually not even going to bother wiping down the table till I'm done with all the winter mess, because it'll just get messy again. But I'm going to leave this here because the lid from this fairy house died, but the fairy house is still in good nick. So in terms of getting the garden ready for Chops to be out and about and participating in garden activities, I want to remember to fix this. And if I put it away, I'll forget about it. So cranky baby syndrome means that we are going to go inside and have a feed and have a sleep soon, but I just wanted to show you guys where we got to. So it's not perfect, it really isn't perfect. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to be put away or used or whatever, but it's a lot better than what it was. So at least the seedling area, which I need to do more work on filling up, is reorganized and hopefully slightly more windproof than it was before. We got those boxes broken down so that when I get a chance I can pop them under the compost bin that is not compromised. This area does look a little bit like an aisle that has yet to be put together at Bunnings, but it's got all my charcoal, all the wire that I want to use to make the cloches that I talked about. It's got some potting mix that I need to put out there, and it's got all the sprays and stuff that need to work their way down to the shed from their last use, which I don't use regularly, and the ones I do use regularly. So there's a bit of that, and we've still got heaps of kindling and firewood and things like that behind me as well. So this area does look quite a bit like a stockpile, but at least it's tidier and more organized and it's been swept. I know it's tricky with the sunlight, but at least this area is a lot cleaner, and the table, whilst it desperately needs a wipe down and I actually need to move that cardboard over to the pile of cardboard, it is a lot better than what it was, and at least we can sort of tick this off the to-do list. Now the most exciting thing is that we have firewood for the remains of winter. This is probably not going to be enough to get us through winter, but we've got a ton of bark, and hopefully that will keep us warm over the next couple of nights and dry everybody's laundry out and all of that sort of stuff, but more just to keep it warm so that Paddy can have a good sleep, which he really needs to do right now. So I'm going to take him inside and feed and put him to bed, and hopefully I'll get to get something else done today. I don't like my chances given the way the day's gone, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with us. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and hopefully we'll see you again soon here on The Learning Gardener.